earlier on against Tusin. Rakan is going to be taken off the board. So Afreeca Freecs, pick priority here to start this one off. Sejuani was picked up by SKT last time around as first pick, and then Blank used it pretty damn well to navigate the early game for SKT.
It was a much more reliable frontliner than anything Afreeca had. Remember, they had 2 levels under Mowgli, who wasn't able to make much happen as a frontliner. Speaking of frontliners, they're going to go for a flex pick here. They're going to pick up the Swain. Could be an awesome dude, could be a Kuro pick, could even be for Kiin, I guess. So, anyway, flex here for Afreeca Freecs.
We mentioned the win rates for Afreeca on the Swain, 80% for Kuro, 100% for aiming over 4 games. Nice stuff. Pirean, thinking about going back to another champion he's been performing extremely well on in the Orianna, has a decent matchup into Swain as well as now Blank. He can just get Sejuani again if he wants to, but Alistar, a lot of priority to try and take away the engaged champions from Tusin.
Varus priority might be high on both sides as well, so I'm watching to see if Varus taken first round here, but you're right, Alistar Orianna. Engaged duo, and also a takeaway from Tusin. Shen is available if he wants it, and Shen and Swain have been a duo lane in the bot lane in the past. Looking here at the jungle pick, might actually be the Gragas being prized. No guarantee it's jungle, but Kuro's jumping back onto the Yasuo, could be aiming, but my first thought is it's going to be Kuro.
That could be just the bottom lane, though, because Gragas Yasuo has been a really strong one with the body slam, able to start up the last breath for the Yasuo, so definitely Afreeca keeping it potentially awesome duty on the bottom side.
With Swain and Yasuo there, it does feel like they've priced themselves into that.
All right, Trundle going to be picked up here by SKT, and now they can focus bans on the jungle if they want to, assuming they think that the Gragas is going bottom lane.
But again, already with the assuming and thinking, it means there is still a fallback Gragas, right? So there's no real great bans when it comes to what Afreeca don't have.
And plus, Kiin needs a bit of banning in this game as well. 3 champions, in fact. The Kiin could be playing already locked in, but most likely none of them going towards the top side.
Wonder if they're going to ban Jace for Afreeca, because we could see SKT play Jace. We've seen Thal play it the most recently. A lot of lane-dominant top laners being banned in this round so far.
Yep, Cannon going to be taken away, but that's not necessarily because it's lane-dominant. That's because Thal just hard-carried them with it. So not going to let him do that 2 games in a row. SKT, final ban. Camille was certainly an option that they banned away last time. Nah is going to be the decision made here by SKT.
So top priority, top laners, Jace, the big one, who's still left open. See what Afreeca Freecs make of the draft here.
There will be 4 top laners banned.
Yeah, could be. I could also just ban other marksmen like a Varus if they want. See what they want to do here, Afreeca Freecs.
When Varus and Ashe are both available, I feel like that is more difficult, but I understand it. Mundo going to be banned, and that is going to be 4 top laners taken away in our second round. A couple of champions that are good into the Mundo taken away, so understandable that you'd get rid of that as an option. Now, SKT, what do they want to lock in? Certainly a lot of choices here, and could actually leave Thal's champion pick till last and just pick an AD carry for Bang.
Seem to be moving towards the Ornn for some reliable engage, but with GP open. They're going to say, screw it, Gagnplank. A lot of teams will do that in this meta when so many top laners are banned away.
Also, so many awesome dudes on the side of Afreeca Freecs means that there is certainly short range. The Cannon Barrage is fantastic into.
Ryze would be another of the flex picks. Orianna very comfortable into Ryze in a mid lane matchup. So much flex going on from Afreeca Freecs, but they're on the blue side, so we'll get the spoilers very, very soon. They take the Shens. They are going to go for playmaking.
And they also are going to go for the Gragas in the jungle, by the looks of things, unless Kiin wants to grab that one. Tusin, what is he going to lock away? They will let us know exactly what is going on here. Kuro has a pretty comfortable matchup into the Orianna in the mid lane, which is why I assume you considered that was going to be the matchup, but Aiming could, of course, be playing it as well.
Vladimir could be considered as well. There it's going to be.
There he is.
Probably Vladimir into Gagnplank here. Try to take him out in the lane. Can go very aggressive in the matchup if you want it. So the Vladimir fits with the awesome dudes. This Twitch, we've been talking to marksman players about Twitch. I don't think it's time yet, but I know people will consider it. The Xayah has had a high win rate. There's a lot of options here when it comes to marksman.
Yep, slight buff on the Twitch as well, which is why it has his name's been cropping up.
Laning priority. Lucian would be the strongest, but they're going to go for the Xayah. The ability to lift off can be so important, so you don't just get taken down by a Yasuo in a team fight. Wait and see where everyone is going. Afreeca Freecs may not have even decided by the time they locked it in, because all 3 champions can go in all 3 roles. This is the last stand of the awesome dudes. It feels like almost everyone else has put them in the trash. Afreeca Freecs take all 3 of these flex laners. We'll wait to 20 seconds to get the final information, but yeah, the Vladimir into the Gagnplank, that's an old matchup. Vladimir can win. I don't think it's one-sided as it once was. Kuro is usually the comfort player on the Yasuo. That's why I thought he'd be taking it, and it will be aiming on the Swain.
Yep, so it is going to be locked in. A lot of AoE wombo potential coming out from the Afreeca Freecs in very short range. SKT, their global influence going to be there, but Tusin does now have the opportunity to answer the cannon barrage threat with his Stand United himself. A lot now going to be on the junglers to get everyone through the laning phases nicely, because things can go very awry if we get some mismatches when it comes to power levels for a lot of these champs. But Afreeca have made these wombo compositions work out very well without the 80 carries and got away from the hump that can be sieging with a comp like this.
Very interesting game where Afreeca have fallen back to old strategies. We're on 8-14. Orianna, Xayah, if they have their way in a team fight, things can go well. But Vladimir from a flank, the Gragas ult empowering the last breath, and Swain occupying strength. Let's see if SKT can do well in the early game to stop that wombo truly coming online.
Yeah, a lot of tools available for both sides in team fights. It's who's going to be able to get their first best foot forward in the early game. We'll see who's going to be able to do it, whether it's Afreeca Freecs fighting back or SK Telecom T1 with a 2-0. Let's find out. Afreeca fans, you can hear a bit of desperation in their voices.
Haven't had much to cheer for Atlus recently.
Nope. But Kuro did manage to pick up the first CS on the map, so nicely done there.
It's little things. It means so much. 3 awesome dudes flexed around, and the resulting lanes, pretty comfortable ones for Afreeca Freecs. Exhaust Orianna versus Ignite Yasuo, definitely an old favorite.
Pirean's going to be able to get some clockwork wind-up work done here onto Mowgli, but not worried about it too much. See what Mowgli's going to do with his Gragas. Spirit is a bit of a fan of the AP Gragas, but Mowgli haven't really seen his just yet.
Got plenty of damage on his team, so I'm not convinced he would need to go AP, but if you want to go first item Runic Echo, I can understand it. This Xayah win rate is the reason why in spring season we talked about SKT as a team that would pick just the Xayah back when the Star-Crossed Lovers was common and Rakan was being stolen away, or Xayah was being stolen away to deny the duo. SKT were one of the Xayah teams. Afreeca Freecs with Tusin's legendary Rakan was one of the Rakan teams. So, big pick for Bang in LCK history.
Yeah. And Thal is going to be taking the grasp in this particular matchup. An understandable one here for the Gagnplank. As you mentioned, an old counter pick.
But the Vladimir, while it has historically done very well in the matchup, a lot has changed since then. Unsealed Spellbook not being taken on top lane as commonly anymore, so Summon Airy is coming in, but the teleport being there means no Ignite can be there. Back in the day, you actually remember, Atlus, it was usually Ignite held onto for the majority of the laning phase because you could just Ignite Hemoplague and kill people under turret. That's not there for Kiin. And doing enough damage to Gagnplank is something that we've seen cannons run out of. We've seen Nars run out of damage to actually make the Gagnplank pay. I'm skeptical that we can see the same value on the Vladimir. We do see it for teamfights, though. If those circles line up, if that Gragas cast brings in 5 members as the Hemoplague is going, could definitely be a lot of good news stories for Afreeca. But in the laning phase, this might actually be GP farming away.
Well, at the moment, Thal's going to do his best to do that, and Mowgli's going to do his best to deter him. Good early ward here from Thal, understanding that he's going to get shoved in, but Mowgli's just going to go over, try and get some counter jungling done, but Blank is moving his way up. We'll see whether they can actually collapse onto the Gragas.
He should know that Mowgli's here.
Available, yeah. He does. Knew exactly what was going on as Mowgli is going to have to smite very early now, looking for the body slam, flashes and body slams to get out, and that is huge. His gank threat is so much more minimal now in the early game.
That was, of course, having River Vision as SKT, inferring that one, knowing that he was coming through, and then, yes, if you body slam to escape and don't pull it off, of course, the enemy champion can just stand on top of you. Blank was stopping him from getting a body slam away, and had to be flash body slam for safety. So, like you mentioned, Gagnplank 3-6 is now basically gone. Mowgli was preferred for Spirit in this game. The experience edge is what they gave up, and so far it's been Blank making the good moves around the rift.
Yep, now Thal, he's going to go back to base, see whether he can actually afford anything of note. Actually just going to be teleporting back to lane with a Sapphire Crystal, which is not feeling the best as far as picking up combat stats. Needed that health back against Kiin. Keep the lane here, though. He's going to be feeling real good.
Yeah, look, we know exactly what GP will do in this matchup. But it's unsure if Kiin can have the kill threat that was possible before some Vladimir nerfs and the removal of Ignite as a true summoner for the Vladimir in this top lane. Yeah. In the bot lane, which we haven't been focusing on, aiming has actually gone for the phase rush this game. The dissonance and other annoying slows like the barrels will reduce some of his teamfight impact, so that's why we see the phase rush there. Bang prefers the lethal tempo on the Xayah. This is what he took in that game against Hanwha Life B, where he had his items and popped off with a mid lane Lulu. Doesn't quite have the Lulu, but Orianna ball and movement speed and Bang at 2 items could still be a very powerful combo in this game number 2.
Yeah, and often, you know, we see is gigantic win rate, things like that. Most of the time, that is Xayah Rakan. So this time, with effort on the Mukau instead, be a different story. Counter gank positioning set up by both of our junglers, but added information.
Advantage, yep.
Yeah, given to SKT. See the Trundle? He's backing off. Vision was available. Afreeca Freecs know that the Trundle is down here on the bottom side. Level 4 hit by our duo lane thus far, but there's the never move. Bang, he's going to have to take some damage here. Not too much here from no items Swain.
Nice combos from aiming. 4-0 on the Swain himself. You were talking about the win rates on the side of SKT. Is 8-1 the side of Afreeca. So everyone a fan of Swain. This is one of the few contested Swain series we've had in a very long time. Swain priority much lower for most teams. Kingzone have given it up. A lot of other teams have given it up as a pick.
Yeah, Griffin as well, never being able to find too much joy with it.
Gen G don't really play it very much. Cuvée sometimes to push up the top lane.
Yep. But a lot of our teams have actually found some big success with it. You think, you know, KT using it in multiple lanes, as well as the Afreeca Freecs, who have looked very good on awesome dudes in general, but especially the Swain.
It's the cute thing you can do. As Shen support, you always want to stay a bit longer because when it comes to those freezes, the dodge field is so strong when it comes to freezing. You often get a pretty good lane spot for your marksman, or awesome dude in this case, if you are the Shen support. So a little thing to remember in solo queue.
Afreeca Freecs trying to deny vision from Pirean, so he's not as safe here in this laning phase, but he's managed to pull the wave and will be able to keep that in front of his turret for quite some time.
What if Bang feels they can get away with just Mercs? One of the problems for Xayah against awesome dudes is she can't go Sheen like an Ezreal would, or play the Ruin King like a Varus would. So we actually saw, if you remember, Def going Corrupting Potion start just to try to have enough sustain and to shop and buy things. From time to time, he desperately wants to pick up the Storm Razor as early as possible, so he has some magic resist, but not an immense amount by any means.
Well, Cannon Barrage is going to be invested towards the top side of the map. That's going to pick up the minion wave and give Thal a bit of a back here. Has himself a Ruby Crystal and a Sheen. So finally, some items that do something. Right now, Afreeca are just slowly getting further and further ahead because their lanes are feeling much better. And their jungle as well working out here for Mowgli. But it's not going to continue that way forever.
You just have to kind of take a step back and appreciate where the game is at. The action hasn't been fatal anywhere on the Rift just yet. 20 CS lead in top, no Klepto to answer it, so a lot of the gold lead is going to be around top lane. Yasuo usually gets pretty free lane for that ult. Not going to get it onto Pirean, but safety first from Pirean.
Yep, really nice. Respect flash. Otherwise, he would have just straight up died because Kuro had his ultimate.
Feels like this game's going to be very Bang-centric when we finally actually hit the team fights. Whether they can burst him down, he should be the most elusive one. Orianna also wanting to keep back. The front line is just Trundle and Alistar in that case, because everyone else super scared of being comboed by the last breath. So far, when it comes to the laning phase, just like in game number 1, things going very well for the Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, Pirean might actually be an answer for that particular wombo as well. Kuro, when he's using the last breath, isn't going to be able to use the wind wall, so might have an opportunity for Pirean to get a ball in and get a shockwave off. Because this composition is going to be very close range from the Afreeca Freecs, so the likelihood for multi-man shockwaves is definitely there. Thal had a day out as far as AoE magic damage was concerned in game 1, And now Pirean may have an opportunity to do so as well.
But let's think about the games where you don't get those. You think, okay, what if Pirean gets comboed? If he's one of the ones they would be desperate to get with the Gragas ultimate in the last breath. That's usually a game where SKT lose out on vision control pretty significantly. If you lose out on vision control against a wombo comp that can throw an AoE ultimate like the Gragas to open up the last breath, you probably lose out. So the vision line is what we're going to have to scrutinize, just like we were about Afreeca and what Afreeca failed to do in game number 1. Keep tabs on the cannon. That's what they had to do. They couldn't do it. The vision line really starts to fall away for SKT if it has to be super defensive as they roll on the map. That's usually a good sign that Afreeca Freecs are taking over the mid game.
Well, at the moment, Mowgli is going to walk over a hell of a lot of vision here around the Rift Scuttler. Finds a ward there as well. Now we're thinking about this Ocean Drake for SKT. Blank's going to start that one up. And they're going to move everyone over. Lane priority finally on the bottom side of the map means that SKT have the ability to do this. Vision of Empire is going to spot that there's no dragon there. That's going to mean that they have full information, but Afreeca not going to be able to do anything about it.
And we should talk about how big a moment that is, because Mowgli had double control wards around the mid lane. Yasuo had left and right side control wards on the lane brush, and they still lost Drake because one deep ward spotted out Mowgli. He didn't have vision of it. SKT had vision of him, and that's the same sort of information that SKT used to find the counter gank earlier in this game to get the flash away from Mowgli, and also to track Mowgli in game number 1. Those fundamentals, ward control, has been something that SKT has been fantastic at their entire history in League of Legends. The ward will time out, but got massive value for SKT's side.
So much value. Even that lane ward that you can see Pirean had put down in the mid lane in between those two control wards got a lot of information from Mowgli. As, the Raptor's going to lose his patience there. Kuro, bring him too far away from home. Mowgli, if they can take down this Rift Herald, that could be huge news here for Afreeca to try and snowball this game forward. And remember, their composition basically doesn't siege, so Shelly's value is way higher this game.
Information available to SKT much earlier. Will we see the pull away? For now, no. Do have control here, and actually blank ganking top.
Yep, looking for Kiin. Hemoplague's going to go down as well as the Stand United as he flashes forward. They're looking for Thal. He eats oranges at a beautiful time, and is able to go gold. And Tusin now in trouble as First Blood will go over to the Afreeca Freecs, but they answer immediately. Effort gets the headbutters aiming right underneath this turret. He's going to use his stopwatch as well, and that means Pirean, nowhere for him to go, and Kuro is going to pick up that kill. Really good barrel comes down, but bang! What can he get done at the back end of this fight? He has the Feather Storm, but now everyone turning onto him. The Wind Wall blocks so much of the return feathers, and Bang just has to walk out of there. 2-1 in favor of Afreeca Freecs, and SKT need to use teleport to save this turret.
2-for-1 trade because Afreeca Freecs get there and respond decisively. Play was started by SKT, but the Shen ultimate is going to be first rotation. The side of Afreeca. Rift Herald also picked up by Afreeca, so it's 2-for-1, and they get the Rift Herald. Big win, Afreeca Freecs.
Yep, this one's huge. Bang also has to be pretty careful here in this mid lane. Thankfully has boots too, is able to walk away from the Yasuo, but let's have a look at how this all went wrong for SKT.
Hemoplague hits both, so you know the big stain is going to come through. The Tom Flash not perfect for Thal. Basically out of the fight to start. I didn't really spot Pirean, how he was involved in this fight. Of course, he was going to be there late. He had to make a much safer rotation over. He walks in, Shockwave is only onto Mowgli and gets chased down. Pathing not ideal by any means by Pirean. If he went the long way, he wouldn't have been involved. He tried to go the decisive way and ended up getting caught. That's what happens when you try to counter-rotate against a team like Afreeca's that fight better earlier. Nice play by Afreeca Freecs.
Also really difficult when he didn't have his flash available as well, so have to have a bit of a shout out to Mowgli getting some work done in the early game, understanding that the Orianna is not going to be as maneuverable around this map. Kiin now with 20% CDR, building towards his Spirit Visage is item number 2, by the looks of things, with that Kindle Gem. Interesting, actually no, Shirelia's Revelry makes a little bit more sense from Kiin.
We'll see. Sometimes people just sit on the Kindle Gem for quite a long time, and just use it for a cost-effective CDR, wants to walk up and Q Thal at every moment and not lose the trade against the Resolve Tree Grass procking Gagnplank.
Yeah, right now Thal able to use that parlay very effectively here on the top side of the map and is still relatively close. He's got a Spectre's Cowl of his own just to make sure that Kiin isn't going to be able to abuse him in this lane.
Speaking of abuse, Mowgli would love to put down the Rift Herald and take this mid lane turret, but for now doesn't have the latitude to do so.
Just going to take this ward, uses his own control ward here on the bottom side of the map.
He agreed with our analysis, by the way. We were speculating as to where Mowgli would go build-wise. Spirit, the other Gragas jungler on the team, loves to go for the more AP-centric build. Whereas Cinderhulk here, he's got enough damage in the lanes. This will be the Rift Herald, and they want this mid lane turret pronto.
Yep, Effort's going to move his way over, though. Tusin's going to be spotted as SKT. They should lose the turret here. Oh, no, not quite. Shelly unable to get her full boop onto that turret, but now it's very, very low. That being said, having it alive is huge because Afreeca Freecs aren't going to be able to get free autos on this turret very often at all.
And of course, it's an attack speed early from the Yasuo, so it's going to take multiple hits that already is going to struggle as a melee champion to get his mid lane.
This one's going to be tough. Pirean's going to have to use the flash to get himself out. Does still have the shockwave. Cannon Barrage invested here as Kuro only trades his ultimate, which is a bit of a shorter cooldown than that of the Cannon Barrage at this stage of the game.
So much pressure onto Pirean, though, as exhaust not up. Going to be up very shortly. Mowgli turns it into a red buff steal. It's been good play. Doesn't expect to see blank as he pops over.
But should be first turret going over to the Vladimir by himself. Mowgli shows up here as well. May have actually bitten off more than he can chew as he throws down his ult. Stand United's going to be in there. It's a good taunt onto Thal, but again, immediately eats the oranges. And Blank just going to try and bite him. Thankfully for SKT fans, they are going to stave off the aggression top side.
No summoners on Kiin. Protobelt not going to get him there. He needed to do the damage that a tank Gragas and a Shen weren't going to be able to do. So optimistic there by Afreeca Freecs, but to get the solar gold, like you mentioned, onto the Vladimir, that's the big takeaway. He may not have had kill pressure onto Thal at any point in the laning phase, but he has been able to gain a 35 CS advantage. SKT still trying to stay the course, still feeling like 2-item Xayah might take them over, but so much has been decided before Xayah's items ever come through. Does feel like earlier in the season when the marksmen just never got their items, and the awesome dudes, or the bot lane Swain, the Yasuo, the Vladimir have all been played bot lane. Just hit the team fights earlier and can be influential in the interim.
Yeah, I just feel like SKT, if they can stop, if they can avoid dying multiple members at a time in team fights, then Afreeca Freecs' inability to siege turrets and take objectives at a whim, even with an early lead, is going to lead to problems because SKT, they got 3 champions that just want to scale up to 6 items. Gagnplank, Xayah, and Orianna are almost your quintessential late-game powerhouses, and if SKT can just weather the storm, this game could really change its feeling and flow as we move further forward.
And that was our analysis in game number 1, but in a different way, right? At the end of the day, game number 1 was about the fact that Kennen was really set up to succeed in both the jungle pathing and also the team fighting. Well, that happened. And this one is because SKT do have the solid scaling. The team fight from Afreeca at this point should be heavily won by them because they're at item points that SKT's champions just can't match early in the game, in a game where there's only 24,500 gold for SKT. If the game is still there to be won at 45,000 gold for SKT and Afreeca isn't 10,000 gold ahead, I think there really is going to be team fights they win Atlus, but it's a big if, given that right now, feels like every objective is pretty much free for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, Afreeca Freecs having the greatest time, feeling as comfortable as you like. The reason why I have skepticism here for this Afreeca Freecs squad is that we just haven't had them execute on team compositions as cleanly as they did at the beginning of the season or last season as well. The spring split was really Afreeca having some pretty fantastic compositions and then nailing the execution as well. Early in the summer split was also the same. This time around, though, against an SKT that have found their footing here finally in the second round robin of the summer split. Mowgli.
Pretty greedy going for this ward.
Oh, effort. He was twitching on the flash button there, but the Afreeca Freecs are going to be able to take this outer turret on the bottom side of the map. It's going to be the full outer ring done here for the Afreeca Freecs. The last remaining easy turret, though, to take down is a feeling that you get in your mind.
GB just needs time. Same thing about the Orianna and the Xayah, but Afreeca Freecs have no patience with SKT. They want to keep making assertive plays, keep forcing things.
All right, party cast there from Mowgli. He's going to miss all of the barrels.
Waste the teleport as well.
Yep, boots too are pretty strong here, says Pirean.
Teleport there was about just finishing off after the combo ult would have set up the kill onto the Orianna. Doesn't come off, they look a bit silly. Every time something like that happens, SKT get more time.
Yep, Blank's going to take away the blue buff here as there's the taunt, but it's only onto Effort. He can get a big pulverize here. The headbutt back onto Kuro just to try and take him out of the fight is not quite enough. is aiming. He's up in the ultimate. SKT just going to back away. A lot of buttons pressed by both sides, but not finding too much. Featherstorm still available for Bang, but doesn't have the cleanse. And with Gagnplank in the fight, Afreeca Freecs don't want to take it.
Pirean misses the one-man shockwave as well. That's one cooldown by SKT wasted after so much invested on both sides. They back away. Again, SKT, it feels like the fallback farming does suit them because right now, Afreeca still gets stronger with items, but SKT, and the amount they get stronger, it feels like is more than Afreeca Freecs, who already have a lot of power. Still will get strong. Yasuo could just win a team fight straight up. We remember Yukal hitting
true.
2 lifesteal items and just rolling face. But SKT desperate for 2 to 3 items on the Xayah, 2 to 3 items on the Orianna. How 1 item on the Orianna would be welcome at this present time.
The moment doesn't quite have anything built up just yet. That lost chapter really wants to be is Luden's Echo. Now going to go back home. Has that Luden's Echo done. Thank goodness for that. And now what's he going to be able to augment it with? Just a couple of control wards. Should be. He's on his Hourglass for his second item as well for the extra safety, but might just hold on to the Arm Guard, which is a good item just to have against the physical damage coming in from Kuro.
It's a battle of defensive macro versus a team fighting comp that's ahead. And the reason why I use those specific terms is that the team fighting comp that's ahead can't siege, but damn would they love a team fight away from an enemy turret.
Yep. And
SKT, with their scaling, say, okay, well, we have good wave clear in every lane. If we get there ahead and put the vision down, theoretically we can push out the wave that they're trying to siege with. They don't have the ability to range knock down the turret, and if they're just clearing out the waves, if it's just SKT picking up farm around the map, then they're going to feel really good. So there is the chance that SKT can stabilize this game, but one super player, Cask, a huge ult, the game can just kind of end with a 2 to 3 man skirmish that Afreeca Freecs feels stronger than SKT can currently deal with.
All right, now Afreeca Freecs doing exactly what they should be doing. It's clearing out vision around this Baron, because if you want a team to come to you, what you got to do is give them a reason to. And having Soul Vision around a Baron buff that could certainly solve all their siege problems is a great way to do it.
SKT going to be very happy that the Drakes are pretty medium value. So far, an Ocean and a Cloud, the only ones in the game. No Mountains or Infernals to muddy the waters on things like Baron buff.
Yep. Also pretty happy that their Gagnplank now has his Trinity Force Stone, so they're going to be having a better and better time in this lane as things go on.
He's definitely very behind, between Resolve Tree and going Null Magic Mantle. Is a Spectre's Cowl. There is definitely not much bark behind the bite on this Gagnplank. He's kind of just doing his thing, but he can clear waves in front of the Vladimir and probably doesn't die to a turret dive, and maybe that's fine if he can start getting the items and keep picking up the minions as we've already discussed.
Well, Flank and Bang hanging around here as Mowgli has to use the body slam to get out of the way of the pillar. Effort looking for a flank there as well. Thal had teleport. Pirean was waiting in the wings. SKT probably still not looking for a 5v5, but they'll take a pick any day of the week to alleviate this pressure that they're dealing with.
Afreeca Freecs, they're the team that's leading, so we're looking for them to actually find the picks. They have a lot of pick power themselves. Mowgli and Yasuo have synergy. Swain, of course, with any pick CC, has the synergy. A lot of pressure being applied for now. Swain not going to be in range for his passive. Afreeca Freecs, measured play here. SKT do have 2 face jets. They have the Trundle and they are
Whoa, there's the flash. Shockwave going to come down as well as Mowgli going to use the Hourglass. Okay, going to get a decent taunt there, but Cannon Barrage is to a last breath. Comes in from Kuro, but he takes a lot of damage. Kiin's turn to jump into the backline. Hemo Plague onto Pirean does a lot of work, but is it enough? The Wombo hasn't worked just yet, and Thal is going to grab the first casualty of the fight. They trade it. Effort's life is going to be forfeit, but Aiming cannot find a good Demon Flare here, and SKT somehow go 1-for-1.
And a 1-for-1 suits them where the game is at. Thal still walking up, still feeling like there's a barrel that gets something. They'll take 1-for-1 to the bank where SK Telecom T1. Afreeca Freecs just couldn't line it up, couldn't get the Wombo down. SKT, only the supports drop on both sides.
Yeah, and I don't know how Mowgli didn't save that teamfight with the stopwatch. The stopwatch looked beautiful. I thought it was going to buy enough time to mean that the pick wasn't there, and then SKT overextend into the fight. However, the last breath doesn't do enough. Hemo Plague doesn't do enough, and Afreeca have to move back and take this Constellation Cloud Drake, try and get work done here and concede all of that vision that they were fighting over for the last 7 minutes in front of SKT.
That means that more gold is in this game. What were we saying at 24,500 gold? We were saying this is a 45,000 gold game, and there isn't a 10,000 gold lead for Afreeca. SKT will be content. Well, we're halfway there. 10,000 gold has been injected to both sides. Afreeca do hold a 5,000 gold lead, or thereabouts. But SK Telecom, good defensive macro so far. Macro has been super solid in the latter half of this second round robin. Pirean wave clears. He's not had a great series so far, but you get the right shockwave at the right item timing, and maybe it doesn't matter.
Yep. Shockwave's not really all that coincidental this time around. Afreeca Freecs still certainly have control of this Baron pit, but thankfully for SKT, they're able to get wards over the side pretty easily given their red side positioning. Effort moving up, wants to be able to clear this ward. See, throwing a lot of vision down pretty close to the SKT base.
And games like this should remind viewers why we've seen marksmen come back in, why we've seen the amount of Swain bot lane, Yasuo bot lane, Vladimir bot lane drop off. Easy objectives is what we determine as the outer turrets. Inner turrets, with defensive macro being so strong in the LCK, we've always been a vision-focused region here in Korea, it becomes really hard to actually take down turrets when you have no ranged marksman to auto-attack them. Your top laner may be a counter pick, but doesn't actually have kill pressure on the Gagnplank. SKT are holding Afreeca accountable for their draft, and Afreeca keeps saying, we're so strong, let's fight. But SKT so far have been great at denying those fights.
Yep, just staving them off, making sure that they have enough vision to decide when and when not to fight. You can see Thal super happy here towards the bottom side of the map. BF sword now in hand. As Bang looking for aiming as well. He's got his Zhonya's, so not under any real threat here as Afreeca Freecs can move their way up. Body slam available here for Mowgli. Featherstorm very early from Bang.
Oh!
We'll have to flash to get out of the way, but Kuro just going to eliminate the SKT members. Too far forward, that's 2 deaths. Bottom lane's done, and now Afreeca Freecs, they want a Baron.
They might get one. It's really greedy by SKT. There's so many control wars that are in there. Jungle, and Afreeca Freecs find a fight away from a turret for the first time in ages. Looking for more, they want to kill Blank.
Yep, Pirean looking for a shockwave here at the same time. Thal gets a great barrel into that fight, but there's the pull. Kuro still able to rain down hurt onto everyone. Flashes forward, and the Steel Tempest is enough for the double kill. And now Afreeca get the freest Baron that you'd ever want.
Well, sometimes all the defensive macro is abandoned for a moment. A rush of blood to the head by Bang says, let's go for the kill. The kill is going to get them so much, Afreeca Freecs. They turn onto the Baron, there's no one to contest them.
Yep, the teleport was beautiful from Kiin to punish it, but man, I don't know what Bang was doing up there, trying to fight the Swain. Pirean wants to try and get himself in there with a shockwave or something.
They can't stop it.
Well, he's not going to get knocked up there either. As okay, shockwave does come in, misses everyone, doesn't hit the Baron, and now he might even just die. Okay, has to be respected there from Kiin, and Baron now going to get taken. This is exactly what the Afreeca Freecs needed to get their siege working.
You just have to understand why, because Afreeca have a team fighting comp that can run straight, in straight lines. They prosper. Nice teleport into the back line. It's Vladimir, of course. He can be as assertive as he wants. Play from Mowgli here, perfect, by the way.
Yeah.
The Bang is deleted, but all of this shouldn't matter. They shouldn't be this far up when they've done such a good job defending. They decide for once they feel strong enough to fight. They weren't, and big lead to Afreeca Freecs.
Bang didn't have flash as well when he was going for that aggressive play. It's just really, really strange. There's the flash. Nicely done by Kuro to clean that one up, but honestly, it's not one of those fights where you talk about Afreeca being amazing. You're more talking about the fact that Bang and Effort just took a fight that they really shouldn't have after we were praising them for their ability to play smart, play reserve.
It's been a season of unforced errors because of all the marksmen being pushed out and the Yasuo, Vladimir, and these champions coming into the bot lane. We've seen a lot of bloopers, right? A lot of players who haven't had 1,000 games on their champion, maybe not even had 15 games on their champion. Just have individual unforced errors. That one was a bit of a macro unforced error by SKT. They've done so well. They've done the hard work. It's one of those scenarios where you did all the hard work and then kind of threw it away in that particular indication. And now, game may not end. Afreeca will still have some struggle in closing turrets given their short range. But with the Baron buff being the ultimate advantage for a team fighting comp like this, in lanes that before SKT could easily wave clear against, they are going to lose turrets now because of the Baron.
Yep, they're getting stretched too thin now themselves as SKT trying to hold on to their inhibitor turrets. Pirean Doing a good job here against Kiin in the lane, but that just means that he's not available for wave clear anywhere else, and Kuro just going to rip through this turret. He's got an Infinity Edge. He's having the greatest time of his life. Thal not going to be able to go 1 versus 2, especially not against this beefed up Yasuo and Mowgli. Oh, Bang using the cleanse, actually.
That is the fear that SKT should have been feeling a few moments ago. Is it too late? Turret dive always possible when you have the Baron buff. You're this far ahead as Afreeca.
Yeah, Bang does at least have his flash available now. Is Epic going to move forward and try to give Bang the space to clear out this siege minion. Not able to break the base just yet, nor able to break the top inner turret.
Kuro ready to break anyone's face at these 3 items. He is so big on this mid lane Yasuo. In a side lane, if he has enough time, he will get the kills. Afreeca walk up as a team, threatening the dive.
Yep, 40 seconds left on the Baron, and they are going to be able to break open the base here in the mid lane. They just all walk in, all 5 members, and this inhibitor not going to be contested. SKT, no answer here to the brute force of the Afreeca Freecs.
Afreeca Freecs on their first Baron as a team fighting comp with basically only Vladimir and Swain as range champions do take an inhibitor. That's usually not what we see. The first Baron may only get all the inner turrets, let's say an inhibitor turret, but no more. They get the bonus here. 10 seconds left. Gonna look for this last inner with the dregs of the Baron buff. Remember what we said about not being a 10,000 gold lead when we reached 45,000 gold on SKT? They've reached 45,000. Unfortunately, it's a 13,000 gold lead for Afreeca. They've done what they needed to, and they want to close it out.
Yep, looking for the barrel. They don't get it, though, as Bang does have the Feather Storm. In goes Kiin, but he's been exhausted. Bang will survive through the Hemo Plague for the moment. Shockwave onto a couple of members, but they're pretty damn tanky, and it's almost like nothing happened. Effort's going to be able to grab 1 kill. As aiming in the backline looks for the flash, but he's just going to die. He's well behind enemy lines. Owen Wilson takes the fall for Afreeca Freecs. Afreeca Freecs will be able to at least steal away the Crimson Brambleback after that one was an odd-looking dive.
Definitely one where they could have got the kill onto Bang, but instead, Aiming's first thought was to move away and then tried to flash for the kill and died awkwardly. Made to look like a bit of a buffoon there on the Swain in that particular team fight. They'd have gold thrown the way of SKT, so they do not lose the game in that one passage of play. They have been mortally wounded. It's going to be a big Bamba power play, that's for sure. But SKT do actually live to fight another day. They get closer and closer to Bang, finding a 3rd item onto the Xayah. Orianna items are soon going to be pieced together as well, but Kuro is a god of damage on the bot side.
Yep, it's going to take a fair bit of damage here from Thal, who's able to move himself out of the way. Doesn't even use the ultimate there as he misses one of those abilities. Who cares? Tusin's going to steal away the kill. Says you missed too many buttons, Kuro. I'm sorry, I'm taking this.
Well, amusing. The Yasuo is just the biggest monster ever.
Shadow dash
We're
damage.
a bloodthirster short of him 1v5ing.
Yeah. And he has himself the Guardian Angel, so he has to be killed twice, and that's just really bad news. Bang completes another BF sword, but that's not an Infinity Edge just yet. And it just feels like Afreeca Freecs waiting for their moment to finish this game off. Lead is not getting any shorter. I feel like that Yasuo probably needs a little bit more respect to be shown next time around from SKT. Kuro is making it look as busted as it is on the enemy team in Mythology games.
Awesome dudes knocking on the door. They want to force us to a game 3. Such an important game in that playoff race.
Yep, Plank is going to get pulled back in, but nothing really going to get expended because Afreeca Freecs, they've got what they wanted. Break open the base on the bottom side. Don't take too much. Don't give SKT any opportunities to move back into this game. Reserved, controlled, really nice looking stuff here from Afreeca.
They've done the hard work. The team fighting comp has got 2 inhibitors at 32 minutes. Even without 3 Mountain Drakes or anything crazy, they've been able to blow this game open after Bang. And SKT's macro mistake earlier.
Yeah.
Short VOD review for this one, I would say, though. Between games, pretty easy to see.
Don't do that one again.
Don't do that one again. The question I would ask if I was the coach was, why did you think you could do that? That's not an insult, but it's what information did Bang have that SKT agreed that was the right move? Because the resulting Bamba power play, as we can see, ludicrously large. From the minimap, it looked like they didn't have the information to make that play. And now Afreeca, over the wall, not going to go for anything too aggressive.
Did manage to get Effort's ultimate out of him, but thankfully for him, SKT did have another few members there available. Kiin pushing up the bottom wave. He's got super creeps here as Thal's trying to deal with that. Doesn't want to go 1v1 against this Vladimir that's very close to having full item slots done.
Well, Thal is still thrift shopping, and well, it's High Street Vladimir, so definitely it's clear who the fashionista is on the top side.
Yep.
It's also clear who does all the damage, but Freecs could still be caught. They're doing a lot of things at once.
Yeah, Effort doesn't have the ultimate, remember, does have a pulverize. Headbutts Mowgli back into his team, but this is just a dead cow. Absolutely nothing SKT can do to stop him from falling, and Thal's just trying to clean up garbage removal Gagnplank on the map here today.
I think they're just reordering the garbage a little bit too much, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They don't have a way to clean it up because Afreeca keep pushing up. They keep putting on the pressure. They're doing the Baron and zoning them away, but the Baron isn't taken yet.
And that's a hula hoop. That is sort of a representation of how SKT been playing this particular game. Shockwave not doing anything, and Afreeca Freecs just standing in here. There's the flash taunt from Tusin as they're looking to try and grab the Baron and get the kill. Okay, Blank steals it out of the way. All right, can SKT find anything here as now Aiming's in trouble. Bang's got a lot of damage, and have we spoken too soon?
We may have. They've lost so much in their base. They've lost so many members, but with only Blank going down this time, maybe SKT can stabilize and live another day. Is it to any big end? Is it going to be enough for them to turn around the game? Your first thought is no. But any good news story for SKT was unlikely with where the game was at. 35 minutes in, they live to fight another day again.
Yep, all right, okay. This is getting worrying here for Afreeca Freecs fans. We all know what Bang is capable of in situations like this on the Xayah. Yes, he's had some interesting performances so far this game, but you can never count him out when he's on this champion to carry them through late game scenarios, especially when there's no AD carry on the other side. Just wasn't expecting to be talking about this in this game. Blank, the hero for SKT.
I mean, SKT is still an item behind.
Oh yeah, they're hella behind.
They're an item behind in relevant roles, but at least the 3 items they have in the roles they do have those items in are good items. At least they have power in where they're at. And Afreeca make another big mistake, and sadly, for a team that used to be cold, calculating, and reliable, they have made a lot of mistakes as recently as game number 1 in this series, and at moments in this game number 2. Maybe SKT actually have the fight back to take a fight if they can actually outplay Afreeca Freecs.
Afreeca, they've got 6-item Vladimir, which is always something that is very, very scary to behold. They'll need to play around that. They'll need to play around Kuro, who does now have a stopwatch as well as a GA. It's going to be very hard to lock him down, and he does about 1 trillion damage if he can get on top of you.
Not sure what the gameplay is to play around a 6-item Vladimir.
Yeah, I don't
what
know
does it look like?
Avoid Vladimir.
So, find a 5v5 that he can't get to?
Yeah.
He is
I think
very
that means
slippery.
it's a 4v5.
He does a lot of guaranteed damage with his whole pool and AoE shenanigans.
Well, you could go over into the booth and avoid his R button, just try and take his R button out.
Well, SKT getting an honest 5v5 out of their enemy at least by, with the Baron buff being able to delay. This won't be a huge Baron buff power play, but it is a Baron buff that Afreeca Freecs couldn't get, and that's all SKT could really ask for.
The other thing is that Kiin's got a lot of AP, yes, but he has absolutely no defensive statistics at all. So you saw a 1-2 punch with the Blade Caller and a couple of autos from Bang, and he took him down to half health. So maybe you just eliminate Kiin before he can do anything in a CC duration.
The nice thing you can do is he's going to Hemo Plague, he's going to buffer his Tides of Blood, get through it. When he pops out, if he doesn't actually pop out as the Hemo Plague healing comes in, you're right, Atlus, because there's no Zonias, you can actually kill him in the 1 second or so of targetability he has. Like, you'll take a lot of damage anyway, maybe you'll go down to a Burst Wombo. But the trade-off of not going for any stasis effect is that small window where Kiin will actually be potentially taken down.
Well, these are a lot of ifs. When we're talking about the capability of SKT bringing it back in this game, it is still 11,000 gold the lead for the Afreeca Freecs, but there's no more inhibitors down. We've got an Elder Drake in 40 seconds that should belong to Afreeca if they want it.
And it's a game where we've had to adjust our language. We've gone from can'ts to shouldn'ts, which is already suggesting that it could happen. And that's the thing. SKT could win a team fight. It's the deck is stacked against them, but 4 items, 3.5 now for the Xayah. Things are getting there. The game should have been decided. Afreeca Freecs have made SKT have an ability to get back in, SKT would love that 2-0. We know they need to win because it's against a fellow team that is looking for that top 5. But even the 2-0 may be irrelevant. Every single game is so tight-knit at this part of the season. SKT will not give this one up without a fight, and there's a fair fight for them if they find the right engage.
Well, remember, effort does have that unbreakable will. The ability to control a team fight for the Alistar certainly is huge, but Mowgli's looking for the flank. He should be able to find it here as well, as Bang is going to face check him. Okay, just gets some wards over the wall, and he doesn't have anyone else there as he gets pressured out of the way.
He's one of the few people that can walk up to a Gragas and not die if the cast comes up because he has his ability to lift off. So risky usually for your face checker to be the AD carry, but that worked. Afreeca Freecs, man, they're threatening. Mowgli has flash. So many flashes up. Importantly, Blank's flash is on cooldown. All 9 other champions have their flash up.
Yeah, we are posturing right now as even that flash that you're talking about just came back off cooldown as well. Blank very tanky here on the Trundle. Can make any tank on the side of Afreeca Freecs irrelevant as well. Mowgli certainly is a catch target here, given the subjugate and the amount of damage that Bang has.
It feels like all 10 members are in a horror film waiting for the jump scare, but no one knows who the jump scare is actually going to be started by.
Yeah, and teleport is available here for aiming. That's why he's on the top side of the map, as SKT want to get some control around the Elder Drake, and somehow, even though they're so far behind, they're able to get it.
Speaking of far behind, Kiin looking for a flank, not going to find it. Can't just run at Thal and kill him anymore.
That was a pretty aggressive back there from Effort. Wants to go back and get some more control wards, obviously. SKT standing very far away from their base.
Who will be the match winner here, Atlus? So many big names in this series, even though people are talking about who's not there. Remember, it's about denying Baron, so it's only 100 gold Baron buff power play, but the denial, so important. Elder started, complete position on this one. SKT have to face check. Only 3 members, this is risky.
Yep, it's gone down very, very low as Blanky wants to try and get in there for another one. Subjugate comes in as Kuro is still fighting the dragon. Effort comes down with a big pulverize, but Kiin's looking for the flank. He's in great position, and now SKT have to beware of this 2.5-minute Elder Drake buff.
And because of all of that information, Afreeca get the Elder Dragon, they back, they make sure they're freshly shopped. Now they roll up to Baron and say, hey, we're getting both of these, or you're fighting against us with the Elder Dragon buff.
Yeah, this is about as hard mode as you can possibly get on SKT's side. Stopwatch now picked up for Bang. Not going to augment that damage, but it is an important item still with 2,000 in the bank approximately. See whether that actually gets him anywhere near his Guardian Angel. 4,000. He may want to be picking up next.
4,000 odd gold lead in the mid lane for the Yasuo, but diminishing returns have been enacted for a while, Atlus. We're running out of item spots. The Bloodthirster is there. If the fight is long enough, Yasuo just wins the team fight himself, and that's something to remember as well.
SKT thinking that there's a couple of members out of position. They are absolutely correct. As Kiin's on the bottom side with teleport available, SKT might be able to get their first turret here. As Thal's going to struggle to be able to get in range of it. Pings down onto the Vlad as SKT trying to navigate this one as best they can.
4 items, Xayah now. Stopwatch going to be held on to. Definitely see the value in that one.
Oh, yeah.
In this particular game.
Audius is what he completed.
And this is the right move from Afreeca. Start the Baron. We've got the Elder Drake buff. What are you going to do about it? Bang is actually trying to 1v1 here.
Okay, Hemoplague is going to go down as, okay, whose targetability is going to be better here? I have a feeling it's going to be Kiin's as, okay, avoiding a bit of the damage is Bang. No Crimson Rush available now. The flash forward, though, that's going to do it. And Bang just gets soloed. Meanwhile, the fight is on here. But SKT, they're reeling. They don't have that consistent damage source. And Pirean, well and truly out of this fight. Thal has to flash. And now Afreeca will just go back to this Baron pit and take down the Purple Worm.
Interesting decision by SKT. A lot of teams would just try to gank the one person, get the kill, and then give up on the Baron. They try to contest both, but it's definitely optimistic for Bang to be able to 1v1 the Vladimir. He loses his life. They lose the Baron. They don't lose their inhibitor just yet. But now that Baron is there, and Kiin is saying maybe another kill to add to my collection.
Yeah. All right. Well, Afreeca Freecs just going to rock on up.
They want to win this game before Bang even respawns.
Well, they got 5 seconds of Elder Drake as well, so they're going to be pretty happy just to brute force their way in, take a couple of inhibitors, and they'll do so very easily. And now, will they just siege with the 2 lanes of super creeps that they've got? Looks like the answer is no. They want to pick up some items first.
Again, siege is kind of in inverted commas, but I guess the minions would be doing the sieging. They go back. We're really running out of item spots. Haunting Guys picked up by the Swain.
Yeah, Leandri's pretty strong.
Haunting Guys does a lot of damage late game, even just as a single item, because of that 10% damage amp over time, and likely the team fights will extend to the 5 seconds. Always been a big fan of Void Staff and Haunting Guys. We don't see it in a lot of builds because dot mages haven't been played that much, but 10% more damage in the late game is usually very relevant numbers. Still, the game is not closed. This one is going longer and longer. I'm sure the comms are getting pretty, I guess, hazy at this point, especially for Afreeca Freecs, who've been in control for the majority of 44 minutes of action. Like you say, it's not over yet.
Yeah, they're the ones with all the onus on them as well. If SKT can just weather this storm and win the game, then it's a 2-0. This is Afreeca trying to bring us to another game tonight, and it's getting late. It's getting to the point where these players will start to feel that fatigue. Of course, most of the time they do play until all hours, but still been on this stage for a long time. 45 minutes, what we're approaching, and Afreeca Freecs need to make the right call in order to close this game out. A minute and a half left on this Baron buff. Now that they've got these super minion waves moving forward, this is their opportunity. They're looking to break open this top lane.
Nobody walks up, threatening that cask. Kuro so big at this point, so much threat coming in. That is another inhibitor turret taken out.
Yep, Kiin sauntering over there as well as Tusin's down on the bottom side. SKT spread too thin and they will lose their entire base. Only Nexus turrets now holding on for SKT. Aiming, going to be moving his way in towards the top side as well. And now Afreeca Freecs will just usher the minion waves conga lining towards the inevitable death, the feeling of inevitable death for SKT. There's the Hemo Plague. They want to start this fight, but Kiin is very low. Cannon Barrage comes down. There's the Shockwave on only one member as Mowgli. He's able to use the Gargoyle Stoneplate to keep himself alive. And SKT, they press a lot of their buttons, but they're still alive. Pirean takes so much on the back line as Effort finds another headbutt pulverized, but in the whole time, these Nexus turrets are taking a pummeling. And Afreeca Freecs, they're the ones to win this war of attrition for now.
You don't feel like they can walk up and end the game just yet. Kuro still has last breath, hasn't found a spot for it.
Yep, you got a teleport to come back in here as well from Kiin, who will have full health. Holding on right now, our SKT is there's the flash from Bang. Still wants to be able to get the damage down as Pirean goes into his Zhonya's, but he will die. Aiming, grabs that kill. The Nexus is open and exposed, but Afreeca just want to get the kills. Tusin going to be the one to knock it down, and Afreeca Freecs, after 47 minutes, bring us to game 3.
Everyone has a bit of a gasp of relief on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. It ended up being much more hard-earned than we might have thought earlier in the game. They got a big lead with the teamfight comp, but found it difficult to close it out. A pair of mistakes from Bang in terms of macro, and I imagine it was a team call, not just a Bang decision. Really holds behind SKT. They can never actually make up for the top lane play that lost them the Baron and lost them a lot of the control in this game number 2. Difficult one to avoid the MVP for. It ended up being such a close game.
Yeah.
Closed out in the end. Overall, victory to the Afreeca Freecs and that SKT dream of beating Afreeca and putting their name maybe first into that combination of teams to get 9 match wins for that 5th spot on the ladder. It's not going to be decided in game number 2. We're going to best of 1 for all the marbles.
Yep, let's see whether Afreeca can turn it all around now, continue that momentum, and Bang suffered his 2nd loss ever.